what we're going to be speaking about today is dating, and which is, it's been a tricky subject for every single human, especially men, since the dawn of time. And I'm already losing Julia.
No, I mean, I have to admit that's true.
So, and especially the location where we find ourselves is a university, the university that I went to, and
I currently go to.
True, and you currently go to. And so this uni, and especially there's something like at least 2,000 boys and girls, and they're constantly meeting each other. There's like hormones in the air, and yeah, it's lovely. Like people are constantly coupling up, and they're playing this old-fashioned game of like almost like a little dance. And so there's something that I absolutely adore about this little dance. And so this is what we're going to be speaking about today. So the first thing that I would say is that if you're thinking about, if you're dating, just probably the number one most important thing is to have self-respect. These people that are incredibly successful in this dating game, what I've noticed is they tend to have a lot of self-respect, meaning that they have some hobbies, they're somehow connected to other human beings, and I don't think they spend time worrying too much about how should I get a person, or how should I date a person, how should I like capture this person, drag somebody. They're people that seem to have already reached some kind of balance where maybe they've got some hobbies, maybe they've got like a career or a job that interests them but not necessary. Maybe they've got a number of friends around them so they're connected but not necessary. So they've already got a number of other things that make their life semi-complete. But I think in general, a thing that most people search if you're dating and you want to be successful in dating, is to have self-respect, meaning that you take care of your own body and your mind, and you're going somewhere. And it's not like that partner that you're trying to look for is like going to solve everything in your life.
No, of course, that's essential. This very same sentence you said, it's so logical, but at the same time, so many people grip on their partner like, you are gonna be the solution to my lack of this, that other thing.
Totally.
And it takes some time to realize it's a mistake. Or some people don't even realize about it until the other person breaks up with them because they cannot take it anymore. I've heard people saying that this person was taking away my life from me because I was, putting myself out there for him or her because she or him was depressed and or was so self-centered that I had to, be there for them, and I didn't exist as a person anymore. Mm-hmm. So it's not, you cannot have a constant, like a long-term relationship like that. I don't think so. If you're looking for a solution in the other person.
Absolutely, I completely agree with that. Perfect. So number one thing, self-respect. The second thing that I think is incredibly important, and you can tell me if you agree, is that it really is a game. It really is a game. And I've met some people that completely disagree with me on this aspect here. And I, through my experience in this, firmly believe that if you see dating as, I just want to go and be completely honest and it's not a game, that's because you're not in the game. That's because you're terrible at the game.
Maybe I'm gonna be one of these people that disagrees with you.
Okay.
Oh, yeah?
So, what do I mean by this? I just mean that, I'll give you an example.
Okay.
There's a guy here that used to always come to me, like phenomenally intelligent guy. Mm-hmm. PhD in physics here, just phenomenally intelligent guy. He's making mega bucks now, so unsurprisingly. And anyway, he would always come to me and he would have these relationship problems. And for him, he would meet a girl and he would immediately think, this girl's fantastic, I'm ready to sign the deal, just this is it. And if you think that, if you've just met somebody and you're just like blown away by this person and you just think, I just want this person, there's nothing else, then that would be the honest approach, to just tell her. And instead, playing the game would be, well, actually, I'm not going to say, I'll keep my mouth shut for a little while. I'll play my cards close to my chest. I won't completely open up to the other person. That is what I mean. I'm not saying do something psychopathic or Machiavellian. I'm just saying keep your cards close to your chest. There's no need to open up completely. Take it relaxedly. But this is maybe just me.
Maybe, and maybe it's you and some other people having the same perspective.
Yeah.
But it's like when we were talking there before, and you and some people in the past have used this verb that I hate to apply in this. Maybe in English you don't use it with the same sense, but invest. Yes. Investment. I don't use that.
It's horrible, actually. I agree with you.
It's terrible. I wouldn't.
But what do you mean by, for like the viewers at home? Like, what do you mean by investment?
Because that you let it for the bankers. You let them for.
No, but what version of investment do you disagree with? What do you not like?
I don't like the fact that we think of the relationships we've had, or what is going on with someone, and making a choice depending on the investment kind of thing. One of my closest friends, for example, he's been with someone for such a long time, but they're terribly unhappy. He's trying to find someone that will replace her. Like, he's with her, but at the same time, like, can I find something better? If I do, then I'm gonna...
Yeah.
And when I talked to him, honestly, I'm like, but why? Like, just let it go and then you'll find something.
Yeah.
And he says, no.
It's difficult to let things go, to be honest, but yeah.
But he's like, after all these years, after this, he doesn't say investment, but that's what he means. He's cultivated his feelings during these years, but so what? Like, then some things, it's like a business. If the business is just going down, are you gonna still be there?
Yeah.
Trying to sell cookies that are not working? I mean...
No, but you're completely right. So...
That's a verb that I don't like. So it sounds a bit the same. It's not the same, but the fact that you think of a kind of strategy or take little steps to... Well, there's different ways to describe it. Some people...
Of course.
Some people take little steps because they want to protect themselves too.
Yes.
But it doesn't sound like it's your case, so...
I just mean in general the fact that you may want to, I mean, for example, if you have no friends, then I wouldn't go out and immediately say that you've got no friends, for example. Then maybe just like you could want to, I'm not even saying lie, but just appear slightly more successful in certain areas of your life where you're completely unsuccessful, then that could be good for you. This is all part of just like...
Presenting.
Yeah, trying to present that's it. Trying to present the best version of yourself. Again, I'm not saying go and say you're a lawyer if you're working in McDonald's. Like, keep it completely real, but just like part of the game as well is to try and by showing that you really like the other person, you're also putting a bit of effort into trying to show the best version of yourself. That's all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe the next one that's not contentious, or maybe less. And this is something that I firmly believe in, is that you have a normal person in front of you. When you're dating somebody and you're wanting to either ask somebody on a date or you're just starting to go on a date with them, you've just got a normal person in front of you. There's no tricks, there's no funny stuff. You just have a normal person in front of you. And just to let you know, what do I mean by that?
That you don't have a god or a goddess in front of you.
Yeah, okay. You don't have a god or a goddess, and you just have a normal functioning person. Quite often, especially men, they're they're troubled by the fact of, women are so different.
Yeah, there's the whole strategy that you have to build because it's a different kind of species.
A different species, exactly. And instead, I've never seen women as a different species, and the people that I know that are phenomenally successful in the dating game, they don't see women as a different species. And I think that seeing women as a different species is bullshit, is wrong, and it doesn't get you anywhere. I'll give you an example. So again, a friend of mine that quite often would come to me and had all these problems with relationships time and time again, he would often ask me for these women, listen. And again, this is so important, this aspect, that as human beings, a new relationship or dating can be like going on a merry-go-round. It's lovely and it just goes up and down, and the second that you start asking, what are we doing? what is this? Which is what this guy used to always do. Then assume that's like pulling the brakes on the merry-go-round.
Okay.
At the beginning, I think that almost nobody likes that. Nobody likes these questions of
Putting labels.
Putting labels, what are we doing? And because if everything is fun and fresh, just like keep on riding that wave. It's amazing. And instead this thing where, and every single time this friend of mine would say, I was going out with that girl, we had like 2 dates, it all seemed perfect, and then I said, listen, what are we doing? Let's just make a pause. And basically the woman would run away every single time. And I helped him to realise, just in the same thing that I always have, I see women exactly like me. So I play football, and just like if I was playing football and I met this new guy and we started having some beers after football together, and all of a sudden after like the third time we meet and have some beers together, he said, Michael, just like let's have a pause. Are we friends, or what are we doing? If like really? No, I'm just saying, if a guy was to say that to me, like, are we friends?
Hypothetically.
Are we building up a friendship? Like,
You would go like,
I would be like, oh, I thought
I
he
don't
was
feel
so.
like.
Yeah, I would think, oh, I thought
anymore.
this guy was so cool, and now he's coming with all these
yeah.
questions, and I just think that's a perfect example for. It's just the same in like with men and women, that if you're meeting somebody and you just.
But do you think you can apply this to any kind of relationship? Because sometimes I think it is so important when you're seeing that you were looking for something completely fun, non-compromising, and you see the other person kind of getting more attached. Then you have to pull the brakes.
That's absolutely true.
You cannot let go, and then that person is like, oh, by the way, tomorrow I'm introducing you to my dad. And you're like, hold on, what the fuck is this? Because you didn't give that person any sign.
Or the opposite, where you think, oh, I'm ready to introduce this person to my dad, and instead the person's like, well, by the way, next week I'm going on a date with somebody else, just to let you know.
Exactly, and that will break that person's heart or your heart, so it's better to, sometimes.
I think I wouldn't do it at the beginning. I would never do that at the very beginning.
Even if you see like some signs that are completely the opposite of what you would expect, kind of, you wouldn't stop that for a while and say, look, I didn't have this in mind right now.
It's true. So we're speaking about dating, and especially I think we're speaking mainly at the beginning of the dating process, when you start to maybe ask somebody out, or the first few dates. But
at the very beginning.
But yeah, like, I mean, if you really see some telltale signs that the person is like completely different from you and maybe want something different, absolutely ask. But if all I'm saying is that this kind of stress of not knowing what the other person wants from a relationship, that's completely normal. That's part of the game.
Yeah.
That's like, it's completely normal. Everybody at the beginning of a relationship is so turbulent, and you just like, you just don't know. You don't know the other person. You don't know their dreams, their values. So it's all like a careful game of just finding it out, and that. And instead wanting all the answers immediately, especially wanting all the answers from the other person immediately, saying, excuse me, time out, what are we doing? That tends to not be cool. I've never liked it, and I meet loads of people who don't like that. And also because at the very beginning of a relationship, as I said, it's lovely and fresh, and just like ride that wave, basically.
Yeah, I would think so. But
yeah.
Cool. So
the next big tip I would say is very, very connected, is don't completely expose yourself by asking the other person, what are we doing? Which again is very similar to don't pull the brakes, because then that's the end of this like happy experience, and like when people are just going with the flow. But especially this connected to that, this idea of really asking the other person, essentially being like the weak one in the relationship, vulnerable.
Revealing what you expect.
Exactly, because you all of a sudden you think you're the weak one, and you're basically saying, you tell me what we are, and the other person is, all of a sudden you're just giving all the power over to the other person, And there is people, again, that ignore that there are some power dynamics in any relationship, I think are a bit delusional, where they just say, anything to do, I don't believe that there are any kind of power dynamics or anything.
Of course they are.
Yeah.
They're,
I'm happy you saying that.
Yeah, it's one of the most obvious things that some people try to hide a little bit, or try to think of equality in terms of, I want to apply equality in my life in every aspect, but sometimes you just can't, because the dynamics are what you put yourself in. Yeah. You're already spinning in the wheel, and that's how it goes.
It's so true. Yeah.
And you cannot control it, really.
Yeah.
And maybe if you try to, then you're gonna ruin things a little bit.
True, actually. Yeah, because like concretely, it could be that the other person just has a more domineering personality, or that you find yourself just in a slightly more vulnerable, like, external position, and the other person's got more certainties. Or
I think both of you have to adjust to it, rather than feeling all of a sudden, there's a hierarchy and I'm under this person, so I'm gonna try to. It's not gonna work.
So exactly, this idea of just completely exposing yourself at the very beginning and just saying, just tell me what we are and I'll be happy with whatever verdict you give me, and then that tends to be the wrong approach, because you're just giving all the power over to the other person. You're just opening yourself up as completely vulnerable, and that, of course, in any relationship, showing a bit of vulnerability, fantastic. Your human side, but again, just you don't want to just completely hand over all the power to the other person, and you say you decide everything, and I accept any verdict. Basically, you don't want that.
No,
and
definitely.
Most people don't want that. So that's another incredibly important aspect. I think we both agree with that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And again, connected to this aspect here, just again, similar thing, but we're moving on one step more. And hey, little birds, shut up.
Sorry, I always get distracted. They're so cute.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So you've just met somebody and you've got all the stress because you think, oh my God, she's so lovely, and I want to make her mine and all this stuff. And so this is really stressful. You don't know, maybe she's got a boyfriend, maybe she's got this and this. Really stressful. So again, some things that I had a really close friend of mine that made this mistake every time, that in order to eliminate that stress, you decide to do something, which is just like text the other person and say, listen, I'm just going to come clean, and you say this stuff, and then again you're just saying, I accept any verdict, I'm fine with it, and you're basically asking the other person, so again, what are we doing, what is this, and this, and could be beneficial sometimes, but mostly it's not. Mostly, even the people that are doing it, they know that this thing is decreasing their chances of success. That if they just played their cards better, and they even, like, again, let's be realistic, most people, when you're dating somebody, you want somebody that could be like a rock in your life, or somebody that can hold on to their emotions. If you're dating somebody, or you're beginning to date somebody, or you're having some coffees with somebody, and all of a sudden that person, it just like shows that they just can't hold on to it anymore, that they're just like so stressed because they've like fallen in love with you, they like you so much, then that's like somebody who really can't keep their shit together. And it could be. So again, the people, the friends of mine that I've met that made this mistake time and time again, they recognise it as a mistake. I recognise it as a mistake. And so instead of being gradual, playing the gradual game of seeing how things go, and like, as Dave Chappelle says, chipping the person away one coffee at a time, which I love that. It's chipping away the person one coffee at a time. Yeah, just slowly getting in there and like getting to know the other person, and the person getting to know you seems to work so much better. And instead of just like, you can't take the situation anymore, you send a text message or an email, you say, I'm going to come clean, and all this stuff. And usually, it's not so successful. And again, you're giving all the power over to the other person. But anyway, I've been speaking too much. What do you think about this? I think you understand what I'm saying.
Understand is one thing, agree is another. So, don't you think there's also something going on that you didn't mention, like people that are more rational and people that are more sentimental or emotional?
What do you mean by that?
That you cannot apply this strategy or this thought to every person, because some people, if they are more rational, they have the skills to have a cold mind and sit down and think of a relationship as something that they have to plan a little bit, or that they have to, as you said, play their cards better.
Yeah.
Someone that is more driven by their feelings and cannot listen so much to their rational side may not be as good at this, and maybe
that's true.
And if they want to train themselves on being something else, maybe they'll feel that they're not being genuine, that they're not being themselves.
I completely agree with you. But again, it's quite often useful to think about extremes. So now, another friend of mine, again, that I said, he meets a girl, thinks she's amazing, and it's happened every single time in his life. Within 2 hours, he's even very successful. Like, he's like big, tall, massive, very muscular, with the messy hair. So he's like a combination of kind of nerdy physicist and like bodybuilder. Girls love him. But he's just, like, he tends to be pretty awful at the dating game. He'll go out on a date with like a girl, and within 2 hours, he's just ready. He's just, everything else after these 2 hours is just like fake. If he didn't say to the other person within, like, at the end of these 2 hours, my God, I've fallen in love with you, what can we do about it? Like, that would be his honest approach, which is like wrong, because nobody's ready to. That's also a really important thing about the merry-go-round that I didn't say. Most people have got no idea how they feel at the beginning of a relationship. They've got no idea. And if you're Brad Pitt, maybe people have an idea how they feel about you, and girls want to be with you. But if you're a normal guy with a normal face and a normal body, then it just takes some time to develop things. And most people don't really know, and even guys, they don't know how they feel about a girl at the beginning, and so it just takes some time, and you just need to appreciate that things do take time. And if some person maybe takes 2 or 3 dates to kind of start to think, I kind of quite like this person, but instead it takes you half an hour, then if you're acting after half an hour saying, right, so is everything okay, can we seal the deal, are you my girlfriend, then you just need to take it into consideration that other people will not be like you, just that. And if you see yourself falling in love time and time again immediately, and that you're ready to sign the deal, then you should know that you should be really trying to behave in a way that is most successful for you to get what you want. And the most successful usually is the gradual game, because you're taking into account that some people might take them 2 dates, some people might take them 3 dates, some people might take them 4 or 5 days. And by waiting more, then it tends to be more beneficial, that's all.
That sounds legit.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, that's where you add like some emoji here of some prize or like
I'm not going to do that, but maybe a sound effect.
I'm not going to do that shit.
Maybe a sound effect.
Yeah, you love those.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, now, did you agree with me the thing about that some people are willing to ruin something beautiful that could be starting by deciding to not play the gradual game, by not being
Yeah, but what does ruin mean in that case?
Ruin means that the other person hasn't created an opinion yet about you, and you're just at the beginning, after like just a few hours or one date, you're just so sold, and you just think, and because you're lying awake in bed at night thinking, oh, she's so gorgeous, she's so amazing, and I hate this horrible turbulence that's inside me, I will address the turbulence by sending like this kind of really honest message about how I feel. And knowing that it will probably kill your chances of it developing further.
If you're talking about a matter of hours or a day, that's crazy. Of course not. Like,
some people are like that, yeah. After one date, after a couple of dates, yeah.
Well, some people might seem more anxious, more clingy, but...
Clingy.
Clingy?
Yeah, clingy.
Like ready to...
Like how you said, the clean. I was like, what was that noise? Some people might be more clean.
Or more thirsty for it, you know?
No, true.
Yeah, that's... but pouring your heart out there after some hours, no, don't do that. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Unless both are so clingy at the same
Clingy.
time.
Clingy.
Clingy?
What's
it?
Clingy.
What's the difference?
Clingy. Yeah, it's not clean.
Clingy.
No, really, tell me. You need to tell me what you think about this.
All right.
So the next big thing in the dating game that will make you successful, and I'm sure 100%. And this is a really big thing, and people forget about it. All these different dating bullshit books, and they tell you that it's like, oh, the formula, the trick, if you say this word or something. Be interested in the other person.
Of course.
The people that I see, I know I have a friend that pissed me off so much this weekend, but I'll still call him a friend. He's so successful with women, so successful, because when he's talking to you, he's got these massive blue eyes, can tell that he's just like completely listening to what you're saying. He's in there. And any female that's been in my life that I've introduced them to him, they've always said, oh, he's so lovely. He really is, because he's 100% dedicated to what you're saying. It's not like you're saying something and you know when people are already like ready to say the next thing, and you can almost hear them that they're not in the thing.
Exactly.
And so what do you think about that?
To me, it's so obvious. I mean, but I don't have to put any effort into that because it comes naturally to me. Unless I'm talking to somebody who is terribly boring or isn't listening to me at the same time and it's just going on in a monologue. But it's something that makes us human, to care, to have a proper conversation, not two monologues. So it's over important. And if you realize you're not doing it and something is not working, then you should put yourself out there and make some effort and listen to what they're actually telling you. Because otherwise, because then actually people who, I've also had examples of people who have accepted to be with someone that since day one didn't listen to them at all.
Okay.
And you ask them, why did you accept to be with that person? And they're like, yeah, I actually realized from the beginning that he or she was like that, but ABC reasons that are not very, honest, like money, other interests. So they're with that person because of other reasons.
It's true. I mean, if the person, for example, is maybe more of a follower, and there's nothing wrong with that. If they like some domineering person that will make decisions and they think that's sexy,
but
or somebody
still,
who's successful.
If they're more of a following type, they still want to be, recognized. Like
absolutely, but I'm just thinking, like, why would that friend of yours choose that? So either they've chosen something that's completely dysfunctional, or that it does work for them.
Yeah.
And if it does work for them.
It does works for them, but in ways that the other person maybe doesn't know, really.
Okay.
So,
in mysterious ways. I'm just going to close the laptop just in case it gets wet.
Yeah, because it's beginning to rain. They know better about their own stuff.
Yeah.
But of course, you have to be interested.
So being interested in the other person, especially at the beginning, you've just met somebody and it's this like first or second date or something, and I can see the temptation of like, especially if you're a bit anxious, of just wanting to tell the other person, like, oh, by the way, these are my favourite movies, my favourite songs and all this stuff. But it tends to be more successful to shut the fuck up and to listen to the other person.
Definitely,
yeah. So we'll say the two last big things. I firmly believe that if you're pretty sure that somebody is lovely and that really that there is potential, then placing a gigantic target on that person and then could be really, really important. So what do I mean by placing a huge target? I just mean playing the long game. There's two types of people of value. If you've met somebody and they're beautiful and happy and just a great person, they could either be introverted, which means that they might not have other people in their life, meaning if we're speaking about a girl that you really like, she might not have other guys in her life, but because she's introverted, that means that she'll just have she'll be closed even to you, basically, to opening up to you. And I've met many girls like this, actually. They didn't have other guys in their life and you just had to, but they just didn't really want people, and then you have to somehow find an opening, and this takes a long time. Instead, if the person is really, really beautiful and happy and successful as a human being, but they are also extroverted, then it means that the person probably will have guys in her life, options, as very happy, beautiful people do have options. I don't think it changes whether it's the introverted version or the extroverted version. I think the dating game is pretty much the same, but I'm not a super expert in this. But what I do think is that being committed to that person and playing the long game is very, very important.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, I mean, you have to be there.
You need to be there.
Yeah, I never thought of it that way. Comparing if it's an extrovert or an introvert, the person that you've got in front of you and if you need to adjust to that or not.
I really
think
don't know
I never
that.
give it so much thought.
No, neither
but
did I.
it's
Yeah. But
something to take into account, though.
Yeah. No, but this thing, like playing the long-term game and being really committed to that one person and thinking, well, okay, well, sooner or later, like the opening will get better and bigger and things will develop. I think that's so important. And again, if somebody is like a really beautiful person and they've got many options, then it just makes sense that they're not just going to rush into something new with you and it'll take time to develop. Yeah?
Yep.
Nah, I don't want to go all speaking and you go all silent, but...
No, but when it doesn't contradict my speech, I tend not to say much.
Okay. If all else fails and there's somebody that you really like and it just doesn't work, sometimes it's just, you can't control the variables, it's just like, sometimes it just doesn't work, then you can always find it relaxing and find it soothing to think that time solves everything for sure, and if you feel crap today, then you could feel better in a week, and time always solves things.
In all senses.
Really?
Not only dating, but
Really?
in life.
Absolutely. And especially because, like, I don't know, maybe I have made this slightly more for guys, but as a guy, you can think that even if you're just like in your, like, I don't know, late 20s or even late 30s, you really have like all the life still to play. You can really, it's easy to think, oh, that's terrible, or where am I going with my life? But really, this, like, you can have babies till you're like 70 or 80 anyway, and like, as a man.
But you don't want that.
You don't want that, but I'm just saying,
you're
like, I'm giving a positive spin.
But you're gonna die when your kid is 10. Don't do that to them.
Okay. But anyway, I'm just saying, you know, like, it's easy to think that if you're in the micro zone and you think, oh, this is terrible, and like, I've had the umpteenth relationship fail, but then you can think, well, actually, just in 1 year's time, and you'll just be 1 year older, which will change nothing in the grand scheme of things, then you could meet somebody absolutely lovely next summer.
Definitely.
Or the summer after that.
And you wouldn't see that coming.
And actually, there's, in these moments where I've felt a bit of kind of turbulence, thinking, oh, that lovely, beautiful person with lovely, kind of beautiful blue eyes, and we're no longer in my life, it's always really nice, and I find it quite exciting to think, well, really, what will the next person be like? Maybe the next person will have red hair or brunette, or maybe she'll have like large breasts or not, and all this stuff. And I think these are all very valid things that may well happen, like, in the future. And exactly, they could happen to you, and they will definitely happen, because if something didn't work out today, then there will be some blonde or brunette or red-haired girl or whatever, and some new person, and that will be your package to explore and to get to know, and it'll be beautiful and that. So, you know, the beat goes on, as they say.
To keep yourself optimistic.
Yeah. Not even optimistically, because it's just, it's going to happen. Like, it's just
open
a case
to life,
of...
open to what might happen without planning it. So,
yeah. Did you think these kind of dating tips, do you think they made sense?
They do, but there's always a but. I cannot say yes, sir.
Don't
people are gonna take what it's like when you read a book or you read some academic stuff, and you take what you want out of it.
Absolutely,
so someone that may listen to you may interpret your words in a way or another, and so it depends on what they do.